Good morning, my friends. Welcome to my favorite podcast. And it's not because we're giving it, okay? It really isn't, because I know when I say that, people say, of course she's giving. No. Listen, I listen to a lot of podcasts, so do you, Melanie Miller. And it's a lot of great information. But this is really a transformational podcast. And I met up with Jean-Philippe just before coming on the mastermind. And I said to Jean-Philippe, I'll pretty much wrap it up for you really, really quickly. Are you doing what you're doing only when you have a trip to qualify for, or only what's in it for me? Or are you doing what you're doing because um, you truly believe build the people and the people will build the business, and you want to help everyone you touch achieve their dream life? So we have a new business owner downstairs. We rented all the basement. Melanie, I can't wait for you to come to the office. It is so beautiful to watch all these little dogs, and Wednesday's big dogs. Anyways, so um, I said to Petra, I think Petra is her name. Anyways, I'll figure out Pietra in Italian. It's better. I'm trying to anglicize it. No, it's Pietra. I said, I'm so proud of you, Pietra. It is an amazing setup. The professionalism, the passion, the love. You feel the energy, and she starts crying. But then, as we prepared the podcast last night, my mission is empowerment of women.
Mhm.
And I don't do it just because it's Tupperware. It made me realize it's everywhere. Like, I do it instinctively, whether I'm going to Costco and I'm meeting somebody, like, it's in my DNA. So what I said to John Philippe, the day you start doing things, regardless of whether or not you're getting paid, regardless of whether or not, okay, you're qualifying for a trip, then you're going to have mastered this point today. And this is why the majority of leaders fail, because it's selfish leadership. That's what it is. So embrace yourselves. Embrace yourselves. Many of you might not like what you're going to hear, but believe me, there's a science behind it. And this is what you're going to walk away with. So before we go that, please share with all the selfish people you know in your life that only do things when it's convenient for them. How many? 2003 people. I'm going to send it to 2000. Okay, bye-bye. Go, your turn.
Okay, so it's time to share the podcast this morning. So you have the text in the comment that you can copy paste when you share, so people understand why they should listen to the podcast. But of course, if you have someone in mind, not with this intro, they will receive it. Oh, thank you. Okay, but
Oh, it's
if you have someone in mind that really needs to hear this podcast, send it by messenger, send it by text message. So when you click on the arrow to share, you will see you have all those options to share it directly with one person at a time too. And then we have our contest, Les Millionnaires des Diamants. So first, when you go on our Facebook group, Les Millionnaires des Diamants Inspirational Group, every time that you post, every time that you react, every time that you comment on the group, you gain point during the month to be in the top 10 contributor. And at the end of the month, the official top 10 will get a voucher to go shop at the boutique Les Millionnaires des Diamants. And then we have a draw each month. So to be in the draw, there's two ways. First, with the boutique Millionnaires des Diamants. So you place an order, take a picture. You receive your order, take a picture, and go post on social media and tag the Millionnaires des Diamants to be in the draw. And the second way, same thing, but with the books, the Millionnaires des Diamants. So you just receive the book, you take a picture. You're reading one of the book, you take a picture. You're doing one of the quiz book, you take a picture. You're doing something with your agenda, the Millionnaires des Diamants. Again, you can take a picture. So you can have a new picture every day to post on social media, and always tag it Le Millionnaires des Diamants to be in the draw. And last thing, if you don't already have your ticket for the next conference, it's time to click on the link to be with us. So it's a virtual conference, so you can join us all around the world. And of course,
I'm going to be in Italy. La Costiera
Right.
Amalfitana.
yes, so Maya.
Hang on. I got to tell you, fun fact. I'm shopping for clothes. And I said to Marie-Pierre, I realized that if I don't buy new clothes, all my pictures are going to look like last year's.
Oh.
And I said,
Oof.
Melanie, I bought 10 days worth of clothes just not to have the same pictures. Too funny. Okay, back to you.
Voilà. So again, click on the link to get your ticket. And for those that want to be in the studio with us. There's still some prices, so just get your ticket and then send me a message so I can add you to the list of people that will be in the studio. Voila.
Okay, what did Jacqueline mean by this? Hang on. Jacqueline? Is Jacqueline there? She's there. She's not there, eh? She sent me a message, but I don't get it. Oh my God, if it was a secret. You know, guys, if you have a secret, don't tell me. Okay. The only things I'm good at keeping private when it's personal, private issues. That I'm good at. I'm like I'm like, en français, on dit une tombe. I'm like, a coffin? Oh, that's ugly in English. Anyways, irrelevant. Okay, let's dive in. Okay, let me dive in. Let me dive in. Let me dive in. Let me dive in. Okay, so I want to talk to you about something that quietly destroys many, many leaders from the inside out, and it's called selfishness. Selfishness. Where are you? No, it's up to you.
Oh.
Selfishness. Okay, she's not selfish. Okay, it's selfishness. Okay, not the obvious selfishness, not the stealing selfishness, not the arrogance. I'm talking about the leadership that is selfish. Like they're only going to do things when there's something in it for them. So I'm going to give you a few examples here. I'm going to drive my team because I want to qualify for a trip. And then after I made the trip, it's like, you don't matter anymore. I'm talking about the type of leaders that are only going to talk to people, and I've seen that over and over again, because they make the money. But if they don't make the money, they will not treat you the same way. You know, I can think of so many, like as I'm saying this, I've got this incredible thing unfolding before my eyes, okay? After 42 years in business, I watched many leaders rise quickly and disappear just as quickly. And one of the patterns that I noticed over and over again was this: the moment everything became about them, their organization slowly began dying emotionally. We have an expression in our English Tupperware world that we say she became a director, died, and went to heaven. Like all of a sudden, she thinks she's God given's gift to life. I don't know how to explain it to you. And, you know, the team that made you achieve directorship, the team that brought you like to whatever you want to get in life, what happens is now that you are selfish and now that you are showing your true colors and now that they realize that you only did it because of what was in it for you, slowly, they begin disconnecting. And next thing you know, they're no longer there. Just by the way, I see this again today. I did a meet and greet yesterday where I didn't realize I was losing somebody when I see her as a director. And I know why I'm losing that person, because she doesn't feel that she's contributing to a bigger picture. You see, she felt, now she didn't say this to me, but I can tell you that she felt that as long as she was giving something to the leader, she was worth something to the leader. But the moment she needed help and support from the leader, she realized that there was none. We lose people. Okay. So I always say, don't build followers, build a tribe. I said to one of my directors, yes, because I do a lot of meets, I go, did you see what happens with followers? Now that you needed them to show up in your store or whatever, where are they? Where are your million followers? How much Tupperware did they buy? And then you have to realize, you know, this is an immature behavior. So I'm going to circle back to Wednesday. These are immature people. They're stuck in the body, even if they're 40, 50, 60. They are freaking immature. They're still looking to be the most popular girl in high school. Now, remember, nothing happens when you're this type of person, okay? You want to build a tribe, okay? And tribes are not built by making one person feel important. Tribes are built on making everybody feel important. My success is your success. I'm only succeeding because you are here. It's thanks to you. It's because of you. So, quick story before I hand you off to Melanie Miller. In 2006, when we had our first, they called it breakthrough, we lost everybody. In the month of August of 2006, we didn't even make, as a company, our director numbers of $13,000. I mean, that's how much people we lost. But it's okay. I have Annie, I have Jose, which I knew she was going to be retiring, and most of all, Pauline, which I already knew she was going to be retiring. She was already 7 years old. And we started building. But when breakthrough happened, something happened to my company that I didn't understand. But now I started understanding because these directors were level one to me. As soon as we passed level four, we didn't get paid on its people. Not only did we not get paid, they didn't count in our recognition. I remember there was a trip in Brazil and I didn't qualify because everybody I was building in levels 4, 5, 6, 7, we went 12 levels deep. Even if I was working with them, building them, coaching them, guiding them, it didn't count. So I want you to understand where I'm going right now. But it never stopped me from building people that didn't count in my sales, that didn't make me qualify for anything, and most of all, didn't make me any money. And a lot of those directors I was working with, and I'll add to that list Annie helped me work with, and Sylvain, because they are the original Mohician, I call them, helped me work with. Even them, they weren't being paid for on it, right? In 2015, another change happened, and it was called 2.0. 2.0. And in that change, they made us count sales to the infinite, and we got paid to the infinite. And this is where a lot of leaders lost their entire sales force, because what happened now, all of a sudden, the leaders that were selfish and only worked since 2006 to 2015 with the people that made them money, with the people that gave them what they wanted. Now in 2015, when the entire downline counts for you, so we went literally to $25 million because all of a sudden you could see the real work that I was doing. Do you understand? But nobody knew. Like what's important to do. I'm only sharing this because it's a podcast, and I think it's a phenomenal example when leaders are always about you. Selflessness. Anyways, non-selfish leaders. It's easier for me. Okay. So what happened? We stepped up to $500,000 in income, to $1 million in income, and even went up to $1.5 million in income. And it reminds me of Joe Osteen in one of his sermons he was giving. He says, never vindicate yourself. Let God be your vindicator, because when he vindicates you, it will be in ways you could never imagine. That's exactly what happened in 2015. All those that were selfish found themselves going from hero to zero. And all of us that built the people to help them build their dream life, because this is our mission. Okay, whether they brought us money or not, whether you are in Tupperware or not, no matter where I go, no matter where Annie goes, I'm going to add to this list Melanie Miller and all my A team and other great directors. We went from zero to here. It was the entire opposite. So what I want to share with you today, before I leave you in the hands of Melanie Miller, real leadership is not ownership. Real leadership, it's stewardship. It's about the the growth of the people. It's about the recognition of the people. And I love this example, and I'm going to read it directly to you. They try to Selfish leaders try to be the only sun in the solar system. Everything must revolve around them. Every compliment, every success, every idea, every recognition, and eventually nothing else will ever grow. But extraordinary leaders, okay, understand something completely different. They don't try to be the only light, they become the sunlight. Oh, I love it the way it was written. And sunlight touches everything. It helps other people shine in, and it doesn't matter whether they are in our Tupperware business or not. And when everybody shines, the entire room becomes brighter. That is how movements are built, not through followers, through empowered people. And now to understand this even more, I'm going to leave you in the hands of Melanie Miller.
Thank you very much, Maria. So, Maria's just introduced the sixth possible cause of failure in leadership described by Napoleon Hill: selfishness. And I think this one strikes very deeply because almost all of us have experienced it at some point in our lives. When I think about selfish leadership, I immediately think about my first job after completing my PhD. I was excited to begin my career in the pharmaceutical industry. I had spent years studying and developing expertise, and I was eager to contribute. Unfortunately, my first boss was not someone who encouraged growth in others. Not only did he limit how much I could contribute, but on several occasions when I produced work that I was particularly proud of, he presented it to his own managers as though it was his work rather than mine. Looking back, it was probably one of the most confidence destroying experiences of my professional life. And it taught me something important. Selfish leadership doesn't just hurt performance, it hurts people. And modern science helps us to understand why. Human beings have a deep psychological need for recognition. We all want to feel that our efforts matter, that we are seen, that we are valued. When someone takes credit for our work, the brain interprets this as a form of social unfairness. The brain regions associated with social pain become activated. In fact, studies show that the brain processes social rejection and unfair treatment in many of the same areas that process physical pain. The amygdala becomes more active. Stress hormones such as cortisol increase. Trust begins to decline. And psychologically, the person starts asking themselves, why should I bother? Does my contribution matter? Will I ever be recognized? Over time, motivation decreases, creativity decreases, engagement decreases. Not because the person has become less capable, but because the environment has become less supportive. Now compare that to a leader who shares the credit, a leader who says, that was Maria's idea. Mary Pierre did a wonderful job on that job. This success belongs to the whole team. Something very different happens in the brain. The reward system becomes activated. Dopamine is released. People experience pride, accomplishment, and motivation. Oxytocin, the chemical associated with trust and connection, also increases, and individuals feel valued and seen and important. And because of that, they are far more likely to contribute again in the future. Recognition creates confidence. Confidence creates action, and action creates results. Psychologically, selfish leaders often operate from insecurity. They fear losing status. They fear losing recognition. They fear that if others shine, they themselves will somehow become less important. So they hold tightly to credit, recognition, and control. But ironically, this usually produces the opposite result. People stop contributing, stop sharing ideas, stop taking initiative. The team becomes weaker. Generous leaders operate differently. They understand that leadership is not about collecting credit, it's about creating success. They know that when others succeed, the whole organization succeeds. And because they are willing to celebrate the other people's contributions, they create environments where people want to give their best. One of the beautiful things about recognition is that it costs almost nothing. a thank you, a compliment, a public acknowledgement, giving credit where credit is due. These simple actions create powerful neurological and emotional responses. People feel respected, appreciated. They feel connected to something larger than themselves. And those feelings often inspire them to contribute even more. Perhaps Hill understood something very important. Selfish leaders focus on what they can take. Great leaders focus on what they can give. Because leadership is not about standing in the spotlight alone, it's about helping others shine. And when leaders willingly share credit, celebration, contribution, and recognize the value of others, they do far more than build successful teams. They build confident people, and confident people are capable of achieving extraordinary things. And now I'll leave you in the hands of Marie Pierre, who's going to help us understand what sort of people we are. Over to you, Marie Pierre.
Thank you, Melanie. So, yes, let's continue with the quiz. But before we do the quiz, we have to be honest that nobody wakes up in the morning thinking, oh, today I'm going to make everything about me. No, it doesn't happen. But sometimes many people accidentally do exactly that. Not because they are bad people, but just because deep down, we all like to feel important. We all like to feel needed. We all like to feel recognized and feel appreciated. But the problem starts when our need to shine becomes bigger than our desire to help other people shine, because leadership was never meant to be look at me, but leadership was always meant to be look at what is possible in you. So and with the quiz today is going to be like the mirror. Not the goal is not to judge or to shame, but it's really to discover, when people spend time with me, do they leave feeling bigger or do they leave feeling smaller? So for each question this morning, you can answer A, B, or C, and I will give you the details. So let's start with question number one. So you have a member of your team that received an award and everyone is talking about them. So what is your first honest reaction? A, I hope people remember everything that I did to help them get there. B, I'm happy for them. Or C, their success genuinely makes me happy. Question number two. You are at a family dinner and someone keeps talking about their achievement. So what do? A, you look for a chance to talk about yours. B, you listen politely. Or C, you ask a question and encourage them to keep sharing. Question number three. Someone thanks you publicly. So what do? A, you enjoy explaining everything that you did. B, you simply thank them. Or C, you thank them and highlight their own effort too. Question number four. If you disappear for 30 days, what would you secretly hope? A, that everyone realize how much they need you. B, that things continue smoothly. Or C, that the team thrives because you develop leaders. And last question, question number five. So after spending time with you, how people feel usually? So A, they are impressed by you. B, they appreciate you. Or C, they are more confident in themselves. So did you get mostly A's, mostly B's, or mostly C's? So if you have mostly A, you are the spotlight leader. So you care deeply, but part of your leadership is still maybe still be tied to recognition, validation, or feeling needed. So the danger is that without realizing it, people may start revolving around you instead of going beside you. So your next level here is to learn that people don't need another star, but they need someone to help them become one. So what do you admire, or how do you want to people admire you, or do you want to develop people, is the question that you need to ask yourself. Now, if you have mostly B, you are the contributing leader. So you are a good teammate. You genuinely care about others and usually share credit. People enjoy being around you because they feel respected. So your next level here is to become more intentional about helping people grow, not just supporting them. So developing them is really what we want. So you have to ask yourself, who am I actively helping become stronger. So it's a question that you can ask yourself every day. And if you have it mostly seen, now you are the sunlight leader. So you understand that is one of the greatest secret of leadership, that you don't need to be the center of the room, because your joy comes from watching other people shine. So people feel seen around you, valued around you, and more capable around you. So this is why people trust you. So the question that you want to ask yourself here is, how many future leader am I helping create right now? So you can really focus on that. So three practice that you can do to make sure that you are the sunlight leader. So number one, ask one more question before talking about yourself. So many conversations accidentally become, oh, me too, let me tell you my story. So challenge you that for maybe the next week, that you always stay curious longer. So instead of jumping into your story, ask one more question. And daily practice number two is to celebrate people when they are not in the room. So this is one of the highest form of leadership. When someone isn't present, you become their promoter. So you can tell, oh, you should see the way that this person handled that customer, or you should see how much she grew this year. So anyone can compliment people in their face, but that character is really revealed when you speak well of people behind their back. So this creates that trust, loyalty, and a culture where people feel valued. And number three, you want to create opportunity for others to shine. So many leaders and unintentionally takes every opportunity for themselves. So the next time there's an opportunity to, for example, speak, always ask yourself who could benefit from leading this presentation, who could present this. So it's always to make sure that you can help someone grow with those opportunities. So on that, we wish you a beautiful day, a beautiful weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.